Hello everybody, I'm sorry for the little delay. I was copying the images or grabbing the images that I would use today. Welcome to another Let's Embarrass Myself video stream. Today Chase is here. Hello Chase.
Hello, Nemo. You sound very robotic to me.
Do I? I guess it changed the inputs again. Let me change them.
Yeah, but I'm not listening to the stream, so it might be Discord.
Yeah, it's Discord. It's Discord for sure. No, it's not. NVIDIA broadcast is correct this time. Or is it even working? Because
it sounds fine now.
Okay. Strange.
It must have been just like a small amount.
Yeah, I just went checking. Yeah, the audio capture here should be, let me see. Properties. Yes, it is correct. Okay, let's go. So, I'm trying to choose here again. Because most of these, or most of the ones I took photos of, are Yu-Gi-Oh things. Well, that's not good, I guess. There is, okay, I could try to do this. It's a little large, so maybe I will do the, let me do this one actually. The biomechanical cyborg guy thing. Because the others are just dragons, and then there is an ugly wolf. It's just a wolf, so I'm probably gonna try this guy. Okay. There is also a Kragon, which is a dragon made of crag. The genius of my 13-year-old self.
It's a better name than Stone D.
I guess. Okay, there you go. So this is a guy that's got a weird chest plate and a weird head. It's so small that I could. It was, I don't know, probably thumb size in the original. So,
is that his arm, or is he holding like a box of French fries? What is that?
That's his arm.
Okay.
Somehow. Wait, I thought I had something like from Metal Gear as well, like the Metal Gear Ray sort of reimagination. But I don't know where. I don't think I posted photos of that, unfortunately. Because the only ones I have here are the ones I shared on Cheese's Discord. I have nothing else.
I know Metal Gear Rex is the OG of the Solid games, but Metal Gear Ray is such a great design for a mech.
It is really cool. Really, really cool. Okay, well, anyway, okay, I'm gonna go with this. Okay, given that I'm not good at drawing mechanical stuff and I'm not that good at drawing people, this is gonna be even more embarrassing when you will notice that the new drawing is pretty much as bad as the original, despite the 20 years that they have between them. So, okay. Let's do a generic 3/4 for now. I have no idea what the head was supposed to be. It's something with horns. I was very much into horns for some reason, and dragons, and this is some sort of draconic cyborg man with the pipes on the legs. I don't know. Maybe I should ask ChatGPT what I should do with this. It's proving to be an invaluable tool. I am honestly considering signing up for the paid version because it seems to be extremely useful.
I am too, only because it's been like really helpful for developing story elements as well. Because I'll just like ask it questions about certain things, and just the level of information it gives me is, because I find it so more useful than just Googling something, because it's like you go on Google and you get like a brief summary about something usually, or it'll give you like a Wikipedia article and you have to read through it. But like Chat GPT, you can like ask it a question and then you can start asking up follow-up questions,
right.
And it like it actually understands the flow of conversation and explains things well. It's a really useful tool.
Yeah, the more okay, I don't know if you can do this, but I'm gonna try to feed it like a book or something in digital format. I wonder if it can read it and then I can talk about it There's probably a limit in the amount of information it can use because it's free. But I wonder if you can do that. I don't know if anyone already tried. It would be
I mean, it can
interesting.
absolutely analyze text.
Yeah, I
I've
would give
talked
it. Yeah.
I've talked with it, like I've shared stuff in video games or like stories I've read, and I've discussed it, and I'm like, do you think that this is logical, what happened in the story? And it actually gives you like a detailed analysis of questions it has, or it points out maybe like logical inconsistencies depending on the information you share with it. So that's one reason why it's really nice.
Yeah, totally. I know for sure that it can analyze conversations between people because I tried. And I also, well, I cannot do this because I got some like usage policy violation warnings. But it would be interesting to ask it to predict the behavior of a person based on a specific conversation. That is not a bad idea, actually. It's pretty interesting, and it would be useful for police, for example. Like if you're trying to, they feed it some data about a criminal record, and like what is this person likely to do. Obviously, that's dangerous because it's just a model. But it would be interesting, like to know what it can inform people about, given specific data.
It's funny you mentioned that because they did tests on AI judges for cases. Like they didn't use them for actual use cases, but they fed them information based on the, like they would take an AI and they would tell it all the particular details of a case. They would input all of like the criminal data, like any past history, and then they would put in like the specific details of the case in question. And they wanted to see like what verdicts AI judges would get versus real judges. Like like the relationship that they would take like real cases, how judges, like human judges would came to a conclusion, and then they compared it with the AI judges, and the results were that the AI judges actually ended up giving more accurate verdicts than the human judges, which is interesting. Yeah.
Well, the nice
Because
thing is that it seems to be unbiased, right? So at least for generic purposes, obviously, I'm sure it has biases, but
no, it
depending on
does
the
have
data
biases.
you fed, yeah. But I mean, for specific cases, it seems to be pretty logical, right? At least.
That's the reason why that it has much greater precision, is that when human judges are doing cases, humans are emotional. So
Right.
we are swayed by certain things, or certain details might, make us either give lesser sentences that sometimes aren't deserved to people. But I mean, that's just how it is. And an AI doesn't think about it like that. It's like, here's what you did. This is the nature of the crime. Here's your sentence. It doesn't really care about like, oh, this guy, he murdered people, but he's got like a wife and children, and so we need to give him a lesser sentence, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But that's why they do that in court. That's why they bring up those things, is to make an emotional appeal. And so even if they know that the client is going to be found guilty or something, maybe that will give them less of a sentence if people are emotionally moved and they say, well, yeah, what this guy did was bad, but he's got children, so we can't keep him in jail forever. It's like, well, that's not really justice to the people who suffered.
Right.
Because I mean,
Right.
if he did something bad to people, the people he did things to also have families, and are we not thinking about them as well?
Right. Right. I'm curious to see what happens if I feed it the Bible. I'm really curious to see what it does, what kind of answer it gives after reading that to certain questions. I wonder if it can actually elaborate the content. I know it's a lot of text, and I don't know if it can do it right now, but it would be interesting. Certainly.
I ask it questions about all kinds of texts all the time. I don't know. Is there a question you have? I have it open right now. You want me to ask it anything?
Not really. I don't know. I would have to think about it. But I've been using it. I wouldn't say extensively, but for interesting things. Like one thing that I asked it was, okay, I want to make something like you. Tell me how to start, and it started writing some code. And so that is very, very cool.
That's the thing. Like a lot of companies, even in just like the past month, have started using it, because like if you ask it how to write specific statements, or how do I code this in JavaScript, it will actually give you code that you can copy and paste in an answer.
It works 100%.
It's really useful. It's not always like totally correct, but like usually I think it's pretty accurate. Like if you make some adjustments to the things it gives you, it's workable code that you can use. That's
Oh
why it's
yeah,
really useful. It
it is.
kind of
It
saves
is.
you time.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. That's why I'm thinking about using it. Even in the paid version, I think they're selling for $49. I heard. I've been told. So a month. So that would be totally reasonable. I mean, if I am saving hours, that's like not so many hours of work, or even not one for some people, depending on what the task is. So it can save a lot of time. Then why not? As a tool like that, it's definitely useful.
Yeah, I mean, $50 a month if you're a programmer, and it's like, yeah, $50 a month for saving potentially like dozens of hours of
Oh yeah,
work is totally worth it.
absolutely. We'll see where it goes, but for now, it's promising. It's interesting. As long as it's like just this, like a tool, I'm very fine with it. It's very useful. In fact, in my childish stupidity years ago, I wanted to try to do something like that. Obviously, I realized it was not possible, but I've always wanted to kind of have some sort of personal assistant I could actually work with to do things, and this is just mind blowing. Like the things that it's able to do are incredible.
Yeah, this is pretty much the closest thing to that we have right now.
Oh yeah,
But I mean, obviously, like creating something like this takes an entire company with tons of resources and manpower to create.
yeah,
So it's not really
unfortunately.
something that one person can make. But at the very least, I mean, they're definitely going gung ho because Microsoft is now, there's a story that they're investing billions into Chat GPT now.
Oh yeah,
So
yeah, yeah, I heard that.
they clearly see that there is a use to it.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, if it can also help, yes, like the thing you just said. Like obviously, you need a company with a lot of people and resources to be able to do this. But once you have this, then you can use this to scale your productivity to insane levels and have it do it for you, so it becomes maybe even more achievable compared to a year ago or so. So it's definitely like if it gets to the point where it can analyze data you feed it, like any type of data, even video and whatnot, it can learn from it and store it somewhere. That would be a huge advantage, like for whoever wants to start a new company and doesn't have the resources. You could use that to kickstart and then build upon it. That sounds so amazing for people who've got a like a entrepreneur mindsets.
Well, I know a guy on Reddit who's writing a book and he's using it to help him write it. Like he writes entire chapters and then puts it in, and then it does like an editing analysis, like it points out, any grammatical issues, and it also gives him like a breakdown of what's happening in the chapter and like any questions it has. So it's incredibly useful tool as well if you're a writer as well as a programmer.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Like why even bother hiring an editor? I could put it in and it'll tell me all the issues it sees with your writing.
Pretty
So it's
much.
nice.
Yeah. But it's also cool because I mean, at this point, like using it like this is like, well, it's just doing things for you that would still be boring for anybody to do. It's like, okay, I'm doing, I'm doing I am the guy who goes over books that are being written and I have to correct grammatical mistakes. Like, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think there is anybody that's happy to do that. That sounds like a very boring thing to do. So I don't think anybody is gonna cry because they lose their job for that. Honestly.
I mean, I enjoy editing things for sure, but mm, to me, the issue is like, in order to have somebody edit a book, though, you have to pay them a fair amount of money to go through every single thing in the book,
Yeah.
which takes a lot of time as well. And like for people that are independent authors, which I totally support, as opposed to people who are working for these big companies, like
Oh yeah.
this is it's a godsend because independent people that are just like self-publishing things, they don't have access to these big networks of resources where you have companies that have on-staff editors that'll make sure your book is well published, well edited, and they also exercise a little bit of authorial control over it, where it's like, yeah, we read your story and we want to change a couple of things because we want it to fit a certain mindset that our company has.
Yeah, right.
The ChatGPT doesn't do that. It just like analyzes your story and then tells you grammatical issues, but it doesn't like force a viewpoint on you, which is nice.
Oh man, you know what we should do? We should try to maybe do a stream where we feed it, since it can understand images apparently. Um, Feed it the Pokemon designs and ask it what would you change here, or do you see any obvious mistake? I'm gonna actually try
That would
that
be
later.
funny.
I'm gonna try that later and see what happens. I know it can understand images because I linked a couple images and it could tell they were images and what was in the image. So very
Yeah, the only
interesting.
real issue is that there's like such a high demand that sometimes I can't access the website because so many people are using it at
Yeah,
once.
it happened to me. Yeah, and there is a hard limit in any case, in the sense that you cannot perform more than a certain number of requests per hour. I actually hit the
Yeah.
limit today, so I understand why. Obviously, it's a free thing, so everyone is abusing it. I can just imagine the amount of people that use it at the same
Well,
time.
think about like, yeah, the amount of people worldwide that are using it at the same time, like the
Right.
bandwidth that's using, and there's a reason why it was costing several $1 million a day just to keep it running. But thankfully, these companies are like injecting money so that way that's less of an issue.
Yeah.
But yeah, like you, I'm totally thinking about just buying the pro version because like you might think, well, Chase is just writing books, like you don't need to use the resource for that, but it's like tremendously helpful for editing and just even having like a proofreader. That's kind of what I use it
Pretty
for. It's
much,
like,
yeah. It's just an
yeah,
assistant, basically. It's an assistant. So who
and
doesn't want
like
that?
$50 for an assistant that's available to you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. That's like totally.
Yeah. Yeah, honestly, and it's also something that normal people wouldn't really want to do. Like, oh, hey, yeah, be my slave. Like, come on. So I don't even see ethical implications, unlike the concerns I have, or I have with the image generating stuff. That's which I mean, it's got its own space also as a tool. But in this case, it's like, well, it's just an assistant. It's just helping me to do something that maybe I can already do, but it just helps me doing it less time. So very nice, very nice actually. It's mind blowing. It's probably the greatest thing that happened ever, or one of the, because the level of interaction you can have with this thing is insane. You gotta try it to know, because otherwise you can understand it. Up until GPT, there was no, even their own OpenAI robots like Da Vinci or the others, they were not even close to what ChatGPT does. Not even close. They would run out of
Wow.
steam. So
I sent it to a link to an image. I thought of a Pokemon, and so I found an image of Yanma, and I just sent the URL to it, and it identified it right away.
yeah, it's pretty
It
good.
says that
It's
the
pretty good.
image appears to be of the Pokemon Yanma. It is a dual-type bug-flying Pokemon that first appeared in the second generation of Pokemon games. It is known for its speed and its ability to see 360 degrees without moving its head. See, that's one thing I like. It doesn't just tell you what it is; it gives you additional
Oh
information.
yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah. And if you ask code, it's gonna explain to you why it does that and how it does it,
yeah,
and
yeah,
how
yeah,
you
yeah.
can read and learn more about it. So that's insanely useful. I'm thinking of just using it as a personal trainer, basically. Like, okay, I want to learn this. Give me the fastest way to learn this, or teach me how to do this. That's incredibly valuable. Just for that, it would be worth the price for me.
Well, the other day I was showing you like I was just testing it in terms of coding, and so I wrote in JavaScript, how do you write an and or statement? And so it showed me the logical operators for and or, but then it also gave me code using both at the same time. And I'm like, wow, that's so neat. So it didn't just tell me like an and statement and an or statement. It showed me how to use both at the same time in the examples it was giving me. It's like that's so useful.
It is. It really is. again, obviously it's just going to get better and better. I am confident that all the information that we're putting in now is going to be used for training it. Despite the fact that there is a like or dislike box, I'm sure all the information is probably used. So within the year, probably it's going to be when the next version is going to be 1,000 times better than this.
Because this is this is GPT 3.5 is Chat GPT, I believe, and I think they're already working on 4. Which I mean, 3.5 it's already like a huge upgrade compared to 3, based on what I've seen. So 4 is probably going to be insane. And that doesn't mean like it's perfect. It does give incorrect answers at times, as I've shown Nemo, and personal messages. Yeah. And certain topics, it does have personal biases, which are built in by the people making it. But that's to me, that's like the big issue. Is I understand that there are people that have their own personal beliefs about certain things, but I try to. It's impossible to be objective. I think that we should strive to be as objective as possible, though, and I don't like the idea that we need to build in certain safeguards into the AI so it doesn't like take certain information and be like, well, this could be true, but this might hurt people's feelings, so we shouldn't say that. To me,
that's why I find it so intriguing. I find so intriguing the idea that you can have it build another thing like it for you. Which I think is going to be a possibility. Either they for some reason or somehow block that possibility, or if it does, it basically writes code for you, and at that point you can just have your own. You don't have to rely on other third-party services, which are going to be biased in any case, to a degree, if they are from big companies, because they have interests, and when politics get into it, obviously it gets messier.
I would honestly probably put down the money for a personalized version that I store offline on my computer or
Absolutely.
Something like that.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. Well, the future is here, so
something that I can customize and say, listen, I don't want you to like censor yourself in any way. I just want to hear the straight up analysis.
Yeah, right. Pretty much. We'll see. I am very excited about it. Very excited. And I wish to start using it earlier. I honestly really jumped on the train just after Chase was so enthusiastic about it. Last week.
Well, it hasn't been around that long.
Well, in November, right? I think.
Of last year.
Yeah, last year. So still.
I mean, it's not that old. It's gaining a lot of steam this month.
Yeah. You did. Okay, what can
I think when it first released, people were like, "This is kind of novel. It's a nice little novelty." But then when people started actually using it for specific use cases, that's when they started to realize, holy crap, this is actually really useful to use. That's why people started flocking to it. And obviously there's been a lot of controversy of people like have been writing their college essays using it, and so now they're like, we need to develop like a counter AI to make sure that this isn't an AI written thing.
Well, that's complicated because I cannot tell. I cannot tell this is not a person writing to me. The only thing that gives it away is the fact that it usually incorporates very generic sentences, at least at the beginning of the answer. Especially if you're writing something, you ask for something, and then it kind of repeats what you're asking, and then gives you the answer.
That is an issue.
Yeah.
In certain conversations I've had, especially like scientific topics, that it will sometimes like repeat certain things over and over again. Where it's like I was talking about some sci-fi elements, and then like in every answer it would reiterate that like in science fiction, like you don't always have to. Not every science fiction story will always use known scientific methods or knowledge. It will sometimes use like elaborative or theoretical knowledge, and like it would say that at every single like answer it would give me. I'm like, yeah, I get it. You need to say this every time. It's fine. I understand.
Yeah, that is a current issue, but I'm pretty sure they're going to nail it for the next one. probably won't take much because it's obvious, right? It's very easy to spot. So, I'm trying to come up with some sort of idea for this dude. Right now, it's just a guy with a small face and a glass part of the abs. Might want to get more plating here.
It looks like some kind of alien wrestler or something.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. I'm not exactly sure what it was supposed to be, but I guess it was some sort of android killer android.
By the way, on that topic, I was reading an article. So, do you know the like the website CNET?
I might have heard it, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, they're like a tech news website kind of
I
thing.
might have. Yeah, I might have been there.
Yeah, there's like I was reading an article about they got caught. Apparently, they had an AI journalist creating articles for them, and the AI journalist was caught committing plagiarism. So they're under a lot of fire.
Oh, geez. Okay, well, that's interesting. I guess that's a risk when you train a model on stuff that already exists.
That is an interesting thing, though. Like, if this takes off, I mean, do you really need journalists anymore? It can create full articles by itself with like probably more accurate information than most journalists, to be honest. But
Yes, especially some certain type of journalist, like mainstream.
well, especially like scientific journalists too, because pop science, like science in the news, is usually really bad.
Yeah.
Most normal people.
Neil deGrasse, guys.
Well, yeah, but I mean, like even when you read like articles that are like written in ABC or NBC or something like that, or some like big name news company, when it comes to science, like you need to go to like rarely specialized websites or journals to get like good scientific information, because the stuff that you find in popular media is usually pretty bad.
It is.
Or it's like misconstruing evidence, or it's like very hyperbolic, like when I remember like reading a bunch of like headlines about, oh, you know, scientists found the God particle and things like that.
Oh yeah.
And it's like, that's, you guys are being a little hyperbolic.
Yeah, that's a bit of an oversimplification.
Dang, it's a good thing I'm here, because apparently I have to carry the conversation today.
For some reason, nobody's here today. Nobody.
Not even. Oh, there! I was getting ready to say, where's Emperor Cheese? And he shows up.
Yeah. Hey there, Emperor of Cheese. Hello.
You missed our 30-minute conversation about AI and ChatGPT.
Yeah. But he doesn't want to use it at all. I'm not that dogmatic about it, really. For me, it's more of a per case usage thing, not necessarily against the whole idea of AI if it can be useful to people.
Well, I don't like the idea of it doing all of the work for me.
Yeah,
but
yeah,
I do like it giving me ideas and helping me make my ideas better. That's what I like.
Yeah, and maybe even helping achieving goals. Like, okay, I need, as I said before, like I need something done for a startup. Maybe I can use the AI to help build the startup. Why not? That's an absolutely legit usage, in my opinion. Doesn't hurt anybody. It's just helping me. So, if anything, it's like 3D printing. It kind of empowers creators to do more if used like that. So.
That is one thing that I like about 3D printing. It's like why go out and give a company tons of money for like overpriced products when, like if I could like create toys for like my nephews, for instance, and I don't need to go out and spend money to get like brand name stuff, I would absolutely do that.
I am
And I could probably
nodding.
make,
You can't see me, but
yeah,
I'm nodding because I was thinking I can make some toys for my son. I can sculpt, I can 3D model,
yeah.
and I can program. So why not? As long as it's safe. Well, I should have given money to some Chinese company who's going to enslave people and put them under the extrusion press and put them in danger. And while I can do it at home with no cost, or very little cost, fraction of a cost. Honestly, it's very cool.
Yeah, I don't want to sound like an old crotchety fart, but I've so like my nephews wanted some like dinosaur toys for Christmas and things like that. And I when the Lost World came out, there's like a big T-Rex toy you could get, and I still have it somewhere from my childhood. And it's like a very well-made plastic toy, and I wanted to get something similar to them, but some sort of more modern toy that they're selling.
Yeah.
And I gotta say, I feel like the quality of the products today are not as good as they
I
used to
have
be.
to agree. Oh, I 100% agree. The toys that I get for my kids are 1/10 of the quality the ones that I had. I know because okay, I can find some in Japan that are actually I could find some in Japan that were actually good quality plastic, but most of them are complete crap. Like I remember buying some. Or having bought for me some Transformers, Biocombat Transformers that were when I was like 11, and the quality was just way better than the quality of the ones that like even the mechanisms. Maybe they were not as complicated as some of the stuff that's out there now, but they were much more durable. Like you could drop them, nothing would happen. You can actually make them fight and drop them in the water and whatnot. But nowadays they feel like so freaking cheap and like the toys that I would have never wanted, like the cheap version of those toys, like a counterfeit version, basically.
If you drop them, it's like it might as well be RIP for it. It's gonna break something.
Yeah.
But
Unfortunately,
yeah, that was
because again, we got the technology now, unlike before.
yeah. But like I was thinking because like years ago I noticed that Yu-Gi-Oh, for instance, changed the card stock. If you compare the card stock of the original cards to now, it's like a night and day difference. Cards today feel so cheap in your hands when you're just holding
They
them.
do feel cheap, yeah.
Yeah. I think because you bought some cards recently, I think you noticed that too.
Oh, I
Where it's like
did. Absolutely, yeah.
they almost feel like paper thin, and it's like you feel like if you
But the
just
Japanese ones are still good. I have to admit, at least the Rush Duel ones that I bought, those are still pretty good in quality, comparatively.
maybe
Versus the
maybe,
Western
maybe they're
ones.
focusing on the Japanese quality and for the mass market international audience, and let's give them the cheapest card stock possible.
It could be. It could as well be. Yeah, because they're not very good. The ones that I bought here. Well, the Japanese ones are okay. I do not remember how they were. I don't have the old ones anymore, but they're definitely better. So at least that, if not better than the old ones, they're at least better than the current ones.
It's difficult to explain, but the old cards had like there's a little bit more of a weightiness to them, where it feels a little more durable. Like I'm saying, when you hold the new ones in your hand, it feels like if you bend it even slightly, it's gonna snap in half or something. It feels like paper thin, and I don't know. It just feels cheap in your hand.
It does feel cheap, yeah. It does feel very cheap.
Yeah, I had a bunch of toys from Jurassic Park, and they were pretty well made back then. Now everything looks cheap, and the prices are the same. The prices are enormous compared to how they used to be. I don't know about that, but
Yep. They are way higher. Way higher.
when I was a kid, I loved well, frankly, even as a teenager, I loved like buying Lego sets, for
Same,
instance,
yeah.
just like building stuff. If you look at Lego prices now, and it's like out of this world.
Yeah,
It's
well,
insane.
the official excuse is that we'll put more pieces into them, because they sometimes they take two pieces to just instead of one that could have been there before. So they take that as an excuse, but the sets are just like unachievable. You spend like $10 for like a tiny crappy car that's got maybe a mini inside. That's insane. Like, come on. That's really insane.
They were pricey, but you get something out of it. No, I'm saying that toys today are actually more expensive but lesser quality than they used to be. That's what I was saying. You can absolutely get a higher quality toy today, but that does require usually paying more money.
A lot of money.
And that usually, what I'm talking about is like the big brand mass market stuff. I'm not talking about like specialized toy stores or anything, because those do tend to be good quality, but you are paying more for the quality.
Yeah. But again, like we were saying, you can just 3D print toys, like literally make them in 3D and then print them. This is once if I ever get a 3D printer, apart from obvious reference stuff that I'm gonna do and dinosaur skulls and bones. I would like to really try to get into making action figures. I know it's kind of hard right now with the kind of the gap that 3D printing leaves. That's not very precise, so it would be pretty difficult to make parts that are interconnecting well. But I mean, down the line, it's probably gonna get better. So one day, that's definitely something that I would like to do.
A 3D printer is something that I have in my radar as well. I actually have 3D files on my computer that I found. Because they have entire websites where people make stuff.
Oh yeah,
so
yeah.
you can just download files and then send it to your printer to make them. So like, I have a bunch of like Digimon figures and stuff that people made that I'd like to 3D print someday and like paint like a miniature kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And when metal printing will become more readily available, that's going to be even better. I have a friend who actually works in a company. They print metal parts for prototypes, but solid metal, so it takes like a week to print a small part. But that's so freaking cool. Like he showed me all the stuff they do and all the sanding, and that's insane. Like just the power you get from something like that. Like you can make your own stuff. That's a hard limit that always kind of held me back doing 3D stuff and whatnot, and even drawing, because it's like, okay, I can do this, I can do a digital painting, whatnot, but it's gonna be there and it's not gonna get out of the computer. Now it's like, well, you can get out of the computer, so it's gonna be real. So that's so freaking amazing.
Right, like before the issue was like you could make these things, you can model them and so forth, but what would be like the use case for it? You didn't have any, and nowadays there's so many different resources where you can actually create stuff in Blender or Maya or whatever, and then you can just create a file and send it, and you can make that thing in real life. I could like make a vase in Blender and then print it and have a vase in real life. Yep. That's just insane.
It is.
It's not something to think about 20 years ago.
Oh no. Oh, absolutely no. Absolutely. And then again, with the AI and stuff, you could even, I don't know, just think of the possibilities. You can have an AI fix your 3D file and just make it ready for print, whatever. Or, okay, I'm not sure how the engineering could work for this kind of thing. Can you help me do that? And that would, like that, 3 seconds, solved. So, endless possibilities. That's yeah.
Wait, I'm gonna go to ChatGPT and see if it knows anything about Blender. I'm gonna ask it.
I'm pretty sure it does. The only thing I read is that the data sets were older than 2022, so like older than 2021. Sorry. So
yeah, it goes up to 2021 apparently.
Nemo, let's develop a car. We'll merge American muscle and European finesse and create a perfect hybrid. Maybe. That would be cool. Or we can make an Iron Man suit. Something like that. But jokes apart, I mean, you could even do that if you wanted to. I don't know, I'm just seeing from the conversation I had today and the past days with ChatGPT. For some reason, I always want to say ChatGTP because it flows better, but ChatGPT. It's got so much potential. So much potential if you've got ideas or just the will to pursue them. Because it will make things way easier. Way easier. So
Okay. It does know how to use Blender.
I figured.
You want me to read this?
Yeah, go ahead.
I asked it, how do you make a rope in Blender? Here's its response. It gives you these in steps, by the way. To make a rope in Blender, you can use the built-in curve object. Here are the basic steps. In the 3D view, go into edit mode, press tab. In the toolbar, select the add menu and choose curve path. In the properties panel, under the data tab, set the number of points in the curve by adjusting the resolution value. In the 3D view, position the cursor where you want the rope to start, then press Shift+A to add a new point to the curve. Move the cursor to where you want the rope to end, then press Shift+A again to add another point. In the Properties panel, under the Shape tab, adjust the bevel and taper values to give the rope thickness. Under the Modifiers tab, add a Solidify modifier to give the rope depth. Under the Materials tab, add a new material and assign it to the rope. In the Properties panel, under the Render tab, adjust the material settings to give the rope the desired look. Note, you can also use the Bezier Circle or Bezier Curve options from the Add menu to create a rope with a circular or more complex shape rather than a singular line. Or a straight line. So there you go. It knows how to use Blender.
See, that's what I was saying. Like, this is so useful for learning stuff. You don't even have to search. You just ask. Imagine when it would be integrated with voice controls. So when it will process your voice and then give you an answer with voice. Or even with text. Like, doesn't matter. Like, you just ask. And you get it. Jeez. Man. Very cool. Very cool. It's just so interesting. So freaking interesting.
Well, I love that too because I thought it would just give me like a couple paragraphs, but it actually gives you like a numbered bulleted list of things you can do in order to do it. That's crazy.
It is. It is. It is very surprising the things it can do. So I'm looking forward to using it even as a paid version. Because this is really, just imagine the amount of time it would take you to find a tutorial that teaches you that. I'm not kidding. I know it sounds stupid because, oh, you can Google it. No, try to do that. And you will find a bunch of crap stuff that you don't need first. And it takes actually some time to find a good tutorial you can follow to do whatever you're wanting to do. It takes time. I know because I did it. So something like this is going to completely annihilate the time and make it so incredibly productive for anything.
I'm gonna have to echo Nemo's sentiments here because, for instance, I've looked up a lot of tutorials on how to make things in Blender, and very rarely do you find like a very good video that succinctly describes how to do things because, you know, a lot of videos have like all the different graphics and it's like, let me do some advertising first. And then like they get into the actual nuts and bolts of the video. And it's like, there's just so many different steps that they just like, the audience probably assumes to know how to do this, which I don't agree with. You should explain every step in detail because you shouldn't assume that everyone comes into something with all of the basic knowledge that you would need. Because some people want to use like programs like these to do just very specific things, and they don't have much experience doing other things. So you shouldn't assume that everyone comes into like wanting to create. You know, if you're like doing a video on how to create an anchor in Blender, you shouldn't assume, well, you know, if you watch my video on how to make a couch in Blender, you probably know how to do this, so I'm not going to reiterate that. I'm like, that's not a good idea. Like, you should explain it in detail every time, because not everyone that wants to make an anchor wants to make a couch. They have different use cases. So
yeah, right. To their credit, it's kind of hard to make a specific video.
I understand.
I know because I tried. It's really hard because sometimes it's like, okay, well, we can talk about this specifically now, but this is part of a longer course or something. So I get it. That's why, again, ChatGPT is very useful. It just gives you an answer. That's it. And you do it, and you saved an hour probably or more. So I'm trying to figure out what these things on the legs are. What the hell was I thinking? What is that? Chase, how do you interpret these things on the boots? Mesh thing?
I thought that they were like just boots with...
Yeah, what is that freaking horrible flat mesh, which serves no purpose apart from making it look more flat.
You mean like the webbing on the boots?
Yeah, the webbing.
That's kind of how I saw it. It's just like, I don't know, decorations on the boots or whatever.
Okay, let's add something like this then.
Maybe they're like cybernetic tubes that you decided to add.
I have no idea what that is. No idea. Whatever. Okay.
Geez, I don't know why you asked about the Bezier, but I mean that's an option in Blender is to use a Bezier curve.
Yeah, you know, the curves with the handles, basically.
That isn't actually like if you are making a rope, that actually isn't a bad idea. What it suggested.
Yeah, of course, because you have like the various control points, right? Something like that. Pretty useful.
I like when they get an incredibly annoying voice and never get to the point. Listen, I know people can't choose their voices, but some of them are so off-putting that it's difficult for me to listen to what they're...
I could say something now and probably get banned. There is a specific type of video by a specific ethnicity, which kind of gets to me every time. Okay. That is, you know what I mean.
You know what you're saying.
That is just off-putting. As soon as like Unity and Unreal tutorials are just completely flooded with these kind of videos, and that's very annoying. Very annoying. Sorry for those people, but freaking learn how to speak. I don't know. I can take most of the accents. I have an accent too, so it's not like a big deal. But that one, no. I'm sorry. That's just too much. That's really too much. So, I know it's rude, but hey. Also, because you can, it's usually pretty low quality. So you kind of know what you get once you hear that. It's unfortunate. But...
No, I just never called it Bezier like you did. I thought you said Brassiere. You sound like a
Bezier, I guess. French. You can also say it like that. They called it both, honestly.
They've always just said
Bezier. Yeah. I should quit trying to fix this thing. It's probably not going to look good in any case. Okay. Let's leave it as a sketch like this. So yeah, it's not too bad. It's just, it's not my thing still, but hopefully it's a little better than the original. Let me choose another one. Alright. Yeah, this should also have something that goes here, but it doesn't matter. Okay. Alright, this becomes this. Oh, I'm pretty sure, by the way, speaking about ChatGPT again, language learning is going to be a completely different experience once it starts learning how to correct pronunciation and whatnot.
Yeah, that's some. I was reading like a thread or an article about this the other day. Like ChatGPT, when it comes to learning new languages, is going to revolutionize that. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people that teach languages are kind of concerned about it because it, like, honestly, it kind of replaces classes and learning language. You can literally
learning anything probably. Yeah, I would probably be concerned more as a teacher versus an artist because. Again, you can have a private teacher basically 24/7. So free.
Well, I'm saying that specifically because the other day I was having it teaching me French and Latin, and it's like really good. It explains things in detail, and there's just something about reading it that rather than like, I don't know, it's difficult. I need to try and find out what the person was saying in terms of learning language, but there is something like the way ChatGPT tells you and teaches you about learning languages that makes it a lot easier to absorb than just taking a class on it.
Yeah. understandable. But in general, it's pretty good at explaining things, and very open to more questions, which is fundamental. And it's something that at some point you might hit a wall with the person. It's like either a person gets upset or doesn't know, or it's whatever. But with this, it's unlimited. Just keep asking, and then you get something, and then you ask the next thing. So it's just boom. All right, cheese. See you later. Let me do. Okay, I'm gonna do the wolf. No, or yes, maybe. It's just a wolf.
Yeah, cheese. I'm not gonna stream later. I'm a bit tired today.
There you go. It's artifacting again. Windows doesn't like lines, apparently. Oh, maybe I should do this guy in armor. This is ludicrous. It's got like a Pinocchio nose. Why? It's like a drill. I don't know if I want to do this, but since we did another guy, look at this. Oh god, it's like some kind of helmet with a drill on the nose. This is so stupid. It could be a Yu-Gi-Oh card though. I may even turn into a Yu-Gi-Oh card.
That's a character that would be in like an anime.
Yeah. Okay, I see another dragon here. I like dragon a lot. What is this thing? Okay, this is Blue Eyes shooting something. So no, too much Blue Eyes. This is literally Blue Eyes, so I cannot do that. It's plagiarism. Protonic Storm is the attack. That's very cool. A skull or a skeleton? No. Yeah, this is Bahamut. Fantasy 10, no. Okay, you know what? I'm gonna do the stupid wolf. Stupid wolf. There you go. Okay, this is just some kind of wolf with the lion tail.
Yeah, I say that's like a feline tail.
Yeah, I don't know, but I think it was supposed to be a wolf, as far as I can remember, with electricity. So it's like I can tell that thing around it is electricity, probably. So let's try to do an electric feline or dog feline, much like I did the electric dog for Ethermon, without using references though. So let's see. This one is potential fail, yeah?
I saw that they posted like a happy Lunar New Year.
Oh yeah.
Instagram, and they showed the rabbit monsters. I think you did those, right?
Yeah, but those were some of the earliest ones. I'm not very happy with that, especially. It's a little too kind, probably. I don't know. But anyway. Let's see. With felines or dogs, I always have this issue trying to figure out a pose. And I'm not gonna do this. Okay, the fact that it's got a very short neck, basically inexistent, is not a feature. It's a mistake. So I'm gonna try to correct that. What the? Oh, my sword! Damn, there was a car in the street. I think it bumped into something or onto something, and the sword I have here hanging from the wall was like. You probably heard it.
I didn't, but that is concerning.
Well, I don't think it's gonna fall. Hopefully. Well, it should probably not cut my head because it's not sharp. So, it's a not so good replica, honestly, of I think a Norman sword. I forgot. Maybe French, medieval. It's kind of cheap looking. It's got what is it? Some sort of rubbery enamel on it also, with some Latin text. Just a decorational thing.
No, I get it. I have a gun blade on my wall. It's fine.
I would love to have that. Right, so let's see.
Yeah, I'm a big collector of weapons. I mean, replica stuff, but some of them actually probably could injure somebody. Like I've mentioned before, my big trident that I have hanging on the wall. It's actually really cool.
Is it like an Aquaman trident or something?
What is it?
From Aquaman or something?
No, it's just like some. I think one of my family members gave it to me as a Christmas present one year.
Okay.
It's very large and hefty. It's not like a cheap thing at all.
Mm-hmm.
And the where the forks are with the blades, trident, like embedded on the sides are these like giant silver eagle heads. It's like amazing.
Cool. That sounds cool. Yeah, I'm a sucker for that kind of stuff. Always been. Just wish I had more money to buy it. It becomes a problem when one has to move, though. Unfortunately.
That one's not really a big issue because actually in the middle of the spear point, it has like a little section where you unscrew it. It's like the two halves of the trident actually come apart. It's a lot easier to like transport, remove if you need to.
I see. Alright, I'm assuming this is a dog for now, and it's got some feline features.
Actually, that's kind of like
the
Pokemon, like Entei, Raikou, and Suicune.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Yeah, they're kind of like half dogs and half cats.
Yeah, they have features of both.
Excuse me. Bout of cough. Probably was supposed to have thicker legs, though. I'm thinking. And claws, still two talents? That's weird. Well, I guess I liked stuff with 2 talents. Weird, but who am I to judge myself? This probably needs to be higher. You know, I was also thinking that asking GPT questions about financing could also be interesting. It's a robot, so it should give you accurate analyses if you feed it relevant data. I wonder how it's going to perform with that.
Ask it to help you do taxes.
Yeah, we'll help you do taxes. Maybe give advice on what to invest on, given trends. Who knows? That could be interesting as well.
Yeah, but it depends on how up to date its information is.
Of course,
it might not be.
Yeah. Again, it depends on the information you give it. Yeah, I don't know. I just keep thinking about multiple uses for it, and it's pretty much limitless. It's like an unlimited toy. You can shape it any way you want.
Yeah, I'm skeptical though that they're correct about it being like only up to 2021. Mm-hmm. Because I just asked it who owns Twitter, and it said Twitter is a publicly traded company, so it is owned by its shareholders. The company's current CEO is Elon Musk.
Oh.
And that is only, that's not information that would only be relevant up to 2021. So
that is strange.
Yeah.
I still think that it is learning and using information you give it currently.
Yeah,
and it's putting
I
it in the
agree.
model.
Yeah, but that's not what the creators said. So,
No, but I mean it's pretty obvious. One thing that it does is that it says, "Well, I don't know about other conversations we had," but this is false, I think, because of what you just said. Probably someone talked to it about it or informed the model about it, and so I feel like it's just a policy they have, probably, and they have to stand by that, but clearly that is not true. They cannot be
well,
true.
every conversation you have with it is basically a blank template, so it kind of resets itself every time you talk to it.
It does, but at the same time, I don't know if it knows about Musk. Either they fed it information intentionally about new events, or it is extrapolating the information from the various chats. So to inform other answers.
Well, yeah, my point is like they're saying that it hasn't done that yet, but like I agree with you that it does feel like it is doing that,
Yeah.
which is something it should do. If it is
I don't have any
incorrect,
problem with that.
yeah, it should update its database depending on relevant new information.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fine. One thing that I noticed though is that if you ask it information about other more niche stuff, like I asked them, okay, give me a number of companies that do card art. Like, what if I want to apply to some of these companies? And it gave me some names specifically that do monster cards or whatnot. And I checked some of these and they do not exist anymore. So that is definitely some information that needs to be updated. So not all of it is, but if there is enough data, probably it will be because people talk about it. So again, like Musk, it's just that someone talked to the bot about it, probably, or they're just lying flat out, either or both. But yeah, the thing about the company is that companies is that some of them were closed; they just do not exist anymore. That
Welcome, Juice.
Oh, hello, Mr. Juice. Hello. Just a treat to revamp old drawings. I wish I could find mine for the past 10 years. Yeah, I only have a few, unfortunately. Either me or my mom threw the others away, sadly. But yeah, it is fun. These are very old, 20 years old, so... I cannot draw dogs for the life of me. God damn.
They have to be humanoid dogs.
Humanoid dogs, yeah. You should know how to draw dogs. You have a dog. You had more dogs. So you have the duty to know how to draw dogs.
Well, it's not that I don't know dogs. I don't have any artistic ability.
That's not true. That's not true. Excuses. I'm kidding. Yeah, I never... Okay, I kind of had a dog when I was a kid. But it was my grandma's dog, and it didn't last long, apparently. I don't know. I remember so little of it. I don't even know what happened to it exactly. Or him. Or her. I don't know. So, I always had cats. Fun enough, though. I don't know how to draw cats either.
Yeah, I've always had dogs in my life. My sister right now has 4 dogs, so that's a lot.
Yeah,
and they're all big.
Oh well, good company. Good company, I guess, and a lot of work. At least I can remember how I used to draw, so it can still help. Yeah, it does. It does. Although there are some... Oh god, again this thing? Jesus Christ. I have to... Okay, I forgot to remove the battery. I did it now. Apologies for that annoying sound. It's the home phone that I forgot to disable for the stream. What was I saying? Okay, there are some things that you do as a kid and you draw as a kid or create that are very hard to understand as an adult because they're very free and carefree. So for me, it's kind of interesting to just see, well, first, that some things have not changed. Like I still draw glowy stuff like this, like the like the latest illustration. I draw like glowy things and crystals. But some others would not really come to me. Like, why would I do something like this? Like, what the hell is this? And I'm sure there was a reason. But this is not like some kind of design I would do now. I mean, I forgot to add the spikes there, but it doesn't matter because they look like crap. For how unimaginative it is, it's still something I would not do because now I have restraints mentally. So
We have 2 dogs. One is close to her end of life.
Oh,
I'm sorry, friend. I have been there. The worst part of owning dogs is saying goodbye to them.
Yeah. I remember the cat that I had for the longest time. I think it was like almost 10 years, 11 maybe, and she was very big at the end. But my grandma used to take her to the mountain with her, like a countryside house basically, but in the mountains. And at some point she got lost, and she came all the way back home, like to my place, alone, and then she died. And she just came there to die, basically. That was incredible. Obviously, I was very sad. I was a kid. So.
Animals know, man. They know. They know when their time is up.
Yeah.
That's what my gecko did. My gecko, who passed away a few years ago, I was just trying to feed him, and he just was not eating anything. He would like just make half-hearted efforts to eat things, but eventually he would just look at food, and then he'd go back into his cave. And then one day I found him in his cave, and he was dead.
Oh.
I don't know, man. They have an awareness that they're.
Yeah, they do. They do. I had that happen to me with other cats that I had. Like I had a black cat, and at some point he just disappeared. It was home. It disappeared, and apparently he had gone to like a, how could I call it? It's like a not a hidden place, but he went hiding basically, and just died. So it just went there because he was dying, and he died. I don't know how they know, but apparently they do.
Well, I think we do too. It's just that the people who are dying know that they're going to die. It's the people around them that don't want to accept it. So
Probably, yeah.
something you feel.
Maybe, yeah, it's possible. It's possible. Let's add spikes here. Spikes, more spikes. Alright, we should almost be done for today. I think I'm gonna have to find something else to do tomorrow. I don't know, I could do some more of those wacky monsters maybe. Let's see. Because I'm running out of older pictures. Unless I want to do something from 2010, something like that. Which is, I mean, it's not very interesting because I wouldn't say it's similar to the stuff that I do now, but it's not imaginative. It's like mostly exercises. So
Yeah, the wacky stuff is hard because there's either like they're too bad that they're like you can't really do much with it, or they're actually like so good that they're basically already finished. So you kind of have to find the between spot of them.
yeah.
Like I was thinking the challenge you did with the wyvern that you redrew the other day. There was also the alien one in that
Yeah.
section. I really like that alien, but I also feel like there's not much you could do to make that better.
Yeah, I mean that is pretty good as it is. Obviously, it needs some polish, but it's not really a redesign that it needs. It's okay. It could be its own thing. And some others are just bad, like really bad.
With that
So
bat with the cannon and the bib that it's wearing.
yeah, yeah, that's probably one of the stinkers. Uh, so, so I don't know. Sadly, I don't really have much of the much material in terms of old stuff that is not technically technical exercises. Um, so I'll see what to do tomorrow. Or I can just continue the banana and just render it. It's just I probably won't be able to finish it.
Reminds me of one of my first creatures ever. It was a round crab. I put blade moves on it later, but it was too cartoonish to be badass. I think I should redraw that next month.
Yeah, I really like crab creatures. There's a lot of cool things you can do with them.
Oh yeah, totally. Even insects in general, because you get a little more leverage on what you can do with them because they're so weird shape wise. So there's definitely a lot of imagination you can put in and design things. Versus just, I don't know, a dog. That if you want it to be a dog, then it needs to be dog-like. So there are more restrictions, right? An insect is just whatever, basically, at this point. Yeah, I want to add something else. It's a little bare, obviously. It is bare in the basic and the basic in the original as well. Maybe you can.
But when you think about it, like crabs in particular, there's so many different strange types of crabs. Like there's coconut crabs, and then there's like yeti crabs, and then there's spider crabs. There's like all kinds of different ways to make crabs. I think that's one reason why they make such great monsters. Is not only are they kind of king, but there's like so many different variations and types.
Oh yeah, crabs, lobsters, crustaceans in general. Yeah.
Like you could give them either, like stubby legs, or you could go the spider crab route and give them like really long legs. And I don't know, there's all kinds of different things you can do with them.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
That's why there's so many crab Pokemon, even if I don't like the new one in the new game.
Yeah, me either.
Well, actually, I don't dislike the design. I just don't think I don't think it fits a Pokemon game.
Like most of the others, basically.
Like I said before, I think its name is Cloth. It looks like a Ghibli creature to me, which doesn't mean that it's bad. It's just doesn't fit Pokemon style to me.
Yeah. I'm gonna add to this. I mean, it doesn't look too bad. It's just a generic sort of dog-like creature of some sort.
Well, if that's opposed to like Kingler, which I think is a pretty cool crab
Oh,
creature.
Kingler is cool. Yeah. Kingler is pretty cool. I could add just the electricity here. I wonder if I should, no. It's not too bad. It's not too bad. It's a good enough redesign. It didn't need much because it's kind of basic. But I could, if anything, I could change or not. No, I'm just gonna leave it with 2 talons there, claws. I didn't add anything Dragon-ish, but I'm assuming like this part here has got scales, maybe. Why not? Scales could work. Maybe even here.
Before that, I might learn how to mix some more elements into a base animal for my creatures. I still have struggles here and there. Well, Nemo could probably give you some advice on that.
Oh yeah. No, because they suck at it. No, maybe. Oh wait, are you in the Discord already? Because I kind of remember your nickname, but I'm not sure if you are in the Discord.
I'll paste the link to the Discord.
Thank you.
YouTube.
Yeah, we got a few things going on there. Also, this month is almost finished, but if you want, you can make a kaiju in 5 days and submit it there. We're gonna do a live stream on day 1st, I think, hopefully, about it.
Yeah, we do entries for it, so there's that.
Yeah, I can do that.
I'm not like an artist like Nemo. If I had to give general advice, though, I would work on understanding the anatomy of the base creature before you start getting into adding various other parts to it. Like if
use reference. Use reference.
Like Nemo does. Like if you're gonna make like a horse creature or like a leopard creature, understand the anatomy of leopards and horses and get that down. And then after that, that's when you can start adding some more fantastical elements to it.
Yeah, you can look up. Man, I'm gonna. Terrell, man, I hope it's supposed to be wet. Latch. I think that's how you write it. Terrell Latch. She's the one responsible for the infamous Jar Jar Binks, but she's really good. She's a really good artist, and you can look her up. And she's got some books that are kind of useful for learning how to invent anatomy based on. Like a fantasy anatomy based on actual real animal anatomy. So anyway, all right, that's it for today. Yeah, I think we got some decent results. It's not too bad. We got these two, the bottom two. Yeah, I think it's an okay result. The second one was pretty basic, but it looks decent. So everybody, thanks for joining me today, or us today. Tomorrow we will see. I'm not decided yet. Might just do another wacky creature, or I don't know, something else out of my imagination. But for now, I hope you have a nice day. Thank you, Chase, as always, for the help reading the chat and the nice conversations. And I'm gonna see